Welcome to the best of series once again here on Wesley Impact. As we wrapped up recording for 2012, we had many favourite shows that viewers wanted us to share with them again. During Holy Week, we met up with Father Chris Riley. Chris has spent more than 3 decades helping upcoming generations make smarter, safer choices. When I caught up with Chris, Youth Off the Street celebrated its 21st birthday. He spoke about the challenges of his role as founder and CEO and the highlights of working with the homeless and disadvantaged youth. New South Wales Australian of the Year, Father Chris Riley. It's great to have you on the programme.
Thank you.
Look, Chris, what I suppose I want to ask you first of all, what Good Friday means to you?
I think you just said it so beautifully. What else can I say? But Good Friday for me is probably one of the most peaceful days. It's a day that I do stay at home very much alone. It's a day I do reflect and pray, because the cross in my life was really significant, because people may find this hard to believe, but as a young bloke I was very, very insecure, and I was sent to a boarding school because I was so shy and quiet, and would often find myself in the chapel almost contemplating suicide. But even as a 14, 15, 16-year-old, facing the cross gave me incredible courage, and I think that I've hung on to, that the cross as a place of courage and strength. And I guess for me, and as you know, working in the welfare with disadvantaged people, it gives you a context also for the people you work with.
Was it during those years that the Christian faith came alive for you in a particular way?
I was always pretty... I was very close to the priest in the parish, and then I was very close to the order when I went to boarding school. So faith was always important to me. I made up my mind at the age of 15 I was going to be a priest. And my mum, who's not Catholic, said to me, you know, what about taking a year off? Or I'm not going to speak to you if you become a priest.
That was a good little ploy, wasn't it?
And I said, Mum, I know what I've got to do. I'm not going to waste one day of my life. I need to get in, and I need to get to Boys Town, which was my dream. I saw the old movie, and the order I went to boarding school with ran Boys Town. And so on my 21st birthday, as a young brother, I got an obedience to Boys Town and passed Teachers College the same day. So it was a pretty significant day, my 21st, and I went to Boys Town as a young brother.
And has that continued to inspire you, that dream and vision?
Certainly the movie Boys Town still inspires me still, but what I've now engaged in, we've become so big. It's just amazing the number of kids out there. And I came from a country town, so I didn't know anything about child abuse, but knowing what our kids go through in this country is just appalling, to be honest, and sometimes breaks my heart. But that's where the context of the cross comes in. And a lot of people will say to me, when you see all this suffering and pain, you know, do you doubt God? And I've said I've never doubted God. I believe in God, I think, because of the cross and the context that cross gives me in reaching out to those young people.
Chris, let's hold it there, because I know we want to talk a lot more about that in just a few moments. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to our performer on the show today. Pauline's been with us many times. She began her career singing praise and worship songs with her family and friends. Today, she shares one of the most well-known hymns of all time, Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How righteousness I have already come. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace will lead us home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. Oh, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first
Wesleymission.org.au provides a comprehensive look at the work of Wesley Mission. On our website, you'll find information about the wide range of services we provide for you and for your community. You can find all our contact details, published articles, our press releases, and our community research reports. There's more information about Keith Garner and our Christian faith. Visit wesleymission.org.au for more information about all the work of Wesley Mission.
So if you want to know more about Paulini's music, as always, our guests are featured on our website during the week. We're back with our guest, Father Chris Riley. Chris, I was in Brisbane about a year ago, walking down the street, and this guy stopped me and said, "I think you're on the telly, are you Chris Riley?"
Oh, dear.
So I said, no, but we're in the same kind of work. And I thought it was nice, really, because we are concerned about people in need, particularly, this guy was a homeless guy, you know, and I know that Youth Off the Streets has done a lot of work. Tell us a little bit about how did it begin?
It began, I was principal of Boys Town at the time in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, and street kids were being featured on the front of newspapers here. And so Boys Town had changed since I was there as a young brother. They only had 40 kids and they had to go home school holidays and weekends. I'm thinking, what am I going to do during those times off? So I started going in on the streets in the last 3 years I was principal, and eventually started in the last 2 years, started to sneak off into the night. I'd put the kids to bed at Boys Town, get an older priest to sit there in case something went wrong, and would go and feed these kids every night. And eventually my superiors released me from Boys Town at the end of 1990 to work full-time with these, what we called then hardcore street kids that were in around the cross in the hundreds in those days.
And the work has changed, really. What has been the biggest obstacle in doing that work?
Yeah, I think it certainly has changed. I think that one of the biggest obstacles is we don't have governments who are committed to young people. So you don't see infrastructure, you don't see money put into young people in large amounts that it should be. We've now worked in troubled communities and we're known to move quickly. We're normally there within days of a riot or a stabbing, and we set up. And so when you go in so quickly, governments aren't interested in that because they like you talking for years and years about stuff, whereas we move in very quickly. So towns like Macquarie Fields after the riots, we were there within weeks. Bankstown last year within days of a stabbing death there. And our success really is getting young people from that area to become youth work trainees. They're already established in the area, they're looked up to, and bring about incredible change because their grassroots knowledge and also the fact that they are young people who are looked up to.
What sort of satisfaction do you get in some way? Now, I know it's a bad word because all of us fit, but there's a sense of fulfilment. What really thrills you?
The biggest thrill for me is the achievements of our kids. I stand now every day or most days of the week teaching HSC English or Year 11 English, and just seeing these kids who have endured so much pain and enduring pain still look to me and say, "You're going to get us through." And I said, "Yep, I'll get you through HSC English. No worries at all. You're bright, you're courageous, and you know what you've overcome is just amazing." So I'm inspired by these kids, and you know, shortly I'll be teaching a group of African kids. We need a workforce of African youth workers. We don't have that. So we've got 6 of those being involved in a diploma of youth work, and I personally will be involved with teaching that with them. That's what I love. It's being with the kids that I get thrilled and inspired.
Tell me how much affirmation really counts in those contexts.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful things last year was I'm not a touchy-feely person. Everyone in my organisation knows that. And at the 20th anniversary celebration, a 26-year-old young guy who had done his wedding previously, he came up and he said he was going to have his wife's having a baby, and that was exciting because he experienced cancer and has a second bout now. He came and put his hand and he said, "I know you don't like being touched, but I just want to tell you I love you." And I'm thinking, how lucky am I to have a 26-year-old guy who's been through hell and back come up and say that to me? So that's the only, I keep saying to people, I don't care what anyone else says to me. I don't care what people say about me. I do care about what my kids say. And so if I was not doing the right thing by them, I would expect them to tell me and I would take notice of it.
Look, today is an important day. This is the day when we can kick all the Protestant Catholic nonsense of divisions and that to one side and concentrate on the heart of our faith. What would you say to someone who had never had any understanding of the Christian faith on Good Friday?
That's a really hard one. I do work in a whole range of religions, which is important to me. A particular religion isn't important. But I guess for me, the cross is that courage. And in communities I'm working in, and right across the board in all sorts of communities, courage is the key word for me. You get strength from a God and believe that taking up the pain of others is a way to redemption. And I guess for me, the way you serve people is the way to holiness.
And the model of service that you work on and that I work on is to some extent modelled in Jesus Christ, isn't it? It's what he did and who he is.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't preach Jesus Christ, but I hope I live it every day. I hope he's working in and through me with his love and courage and kindness. That's what I hope that people pick up about the Catholic or Christian faith from me, no matter which religion you come from. The gentleness and the kindness and the challenge and the courage comes from that cross experience for me.
So on this day, when we think very much of the cross of Christ, it's been a delight to talk to somebody who's working with kids right on the margins and sometimes feeling on the edge of society. Chris, thanks for sharing with us on this Good Friday.
My pleasure. Thanks, Keith.
Visit wesleymission.org.au/impact for more on today's program. There you'll also find selected video clips to download and forward to a friend, information about past episodes and guests, and you'll also have unlimited access to the articles in Wesley Impact magazine. You can also find out more about Keith Garner and the wider work of Wesley Mission. Visit wesleymission.org.au/impact for more on today's program and for all the content available online.
At Wesley Mission, we also work hard to spread the message of God's love to the street kids of Sydney through action. In our Wesley Mission story today, we focus on our own work with youth. Let's take a look together.
Wesley Youth Outreach is an early intervention program. We go out on the streets one day a week and just meet with the kids and mingle, get to know them, build relationships with them. We do similar stuff in high school. We really value our partnership with local high schools. It's one of our key objectives is to be into the schools and know the kids when they're at the earlier stage of their life, you know, and get to build those relationships early. We run 2 youth centres, and one we get average around 40, the other we average around 70, and kids come from all sorts of backgrounds.
So what's coming up soon?
You have kids that are coming from great families, you have kids that are coming from difficult situations, and the whole beauty of it is everyone can participate in what we're doing here.
Coming to have fun after school, after school to come here and have fun. It's a lot of fun and like, it really shows me how to have fun, play with our schools, so yeah.
What we do at Youth Outreach is actually linking a young person in with another service. We can't do everything for them, but what we can do is we can be aware of their options and try to link them into someone who can help them. But as much as we can, we always try to point the kids in the right direction. Through Wesley Youth Outreach, we came into contact with a young man who had been kicked out of home, and that meant he was on bail conditions, and that meant he had to go to jail because he had nowhere to live. He wasn't really a bad kid, so we wanted to help him out as much as possible, and we managed to find a refuge for him, and then after a little bit of time we met with his mum and set up mediation. They set a framework of how they could work and live together, and it worked. And down the track we helped him connect with a job-seeking agency. He's found work and he's just a busy young man at the moment with no real problems.
Anyone else want to play?
It makes such a difference for young people to be able to work and not be idle and really show their true colours. You know, often a smile is a great door into just getting to know people. We know so many kids now from the schools, and it's nearly impossible to walk out into the street without bumping into someone we have contact with. For me, Jesus is the most important person in my life, and that reflects in my work. I see young people as people of immense value. I don't always look at their actions, I look at their value of their potential and who they can be. Try to give them that time. I don't want to be a person that says, I shut off and you're out there, but I want to be genuine and real and someone that they can relate to, and I believe my faith you know, is the driving factor of who I am and what I can offer to young people.
Well, welcome back. On Good Friday, I've been glad to have a guest, a priest, and myself, a preacher minister, both united in the importance of this day. A day when we think of the centrality of the cross. The centrality of the cross is important in the life of the Christian church. It's important in our witness, our ministry. I know of nothing that's more significant than to say right at the heart of Christianity is a cross. It is the central symbol of the Christian faith, but it's much more than that. It's actually the heart of what it means to say God is love. God's love is spelt out in his suffering, in his pain, in his identity with us. When I was actually became a young Christian, and when I was living, as you well know, in another country, it was a preacher from then another country, from the United States, called Arthur Blessed, who found himself traveling all around the world carrying a cross, and it was a great huge cross. He put it on his shoulders and went from town to city, from California at one side to behind what was then known as the Iron Curtain, to Africa. Wherever he went, he took this cross. And I remember him saying to us that whenever he took the cross to places, people would say, why the cross? They would say to Blessed, why the cross? Why the cross? Why not something else? And that question about why the cross, for me, is still the central question. Why the cross? Because we need forgiveness. Why the cross? Because we need a way to find God that's spelt out in the realities of this world, not in the nice things, but in the suffering, in the hurt. Why the cross? Because at the heart of Christianity, this was where his ministry was heading from the very, very beginning. On Good Friday, we take a cross through the city. We'll do that today through the city of Sydney, and we'll recognise. You know, a number of years ago, people take photographs, the press turn up, the media turn up, and our photograph hit the Moscow papers because of where we are in Australia and the message flashing around the world. And we have a young person who plays the part of Jesus and soldiers, and still it's very, very penetrating, that message of the cross. And it strikes me that it's very, very important to walk past all the commercial centres, the banks, to stand in Martin Place and to recognise that the cross still stands at the heart of our Christian faith. These are some words that we read from 1 Corinthians. They're important words. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. What a wonderful thought, written to those Corinthian Christians in those very, very early days. I suppose I want to throw the question back on this Good Friday. What is it to you? What does the cross mean to you? Is it something you've heard sung about, spoken about? Is it something that you perhaps have heard a little about? Many people wear a cross. How many people know what the cross is really all about? Is it foolishness? Is it somebody giving their life up, being willing to suffer, showing great courage, as Chris said? Or is it wonder? The wonder of one who gave himself completely for us. Now, for me, Good Friday is really, it's so different. I'm pleased, I have to say, that the majority of our shops are closed today, is to allow people the opportunity to stop and think. It's a time when we remember in quietness those hours when Jesus spent in love on the cross for us. But it's not the end of the story. Every year at Wesley Mission we engage in an Easter mission. This year we've given ourselves the theme, A New Dawn. And a new dawn is important because we believe that through both the cross and the empty tomb is a marvellous message of a new dawn for the world, a new dawn for people. And if you've never ever trusted Christ, on this Good Friday, reach out your hands. Now you reach out your hands for his hands. His hands are nail-pierced, they're scarred, and they speak of love, they speak of grace. They speak of one whose love is so great and so immense that he can change your life forever. On Good Friday, I know of no greater privilege than to stand and declare the good news of Jesus Christ. We do it in a studio and into people's homes because we believe that message is still so very, very important. So if you have need of grace and forgiveness and hope, may God grant it to you. And may you find the theme of our Easter mission true for you, that Easter is without any doubt at all a new dawn.
If you would like to know more about today's topic or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us today. Next week we meet another trailblazer, Moira Kelly. Moira is the founder of Children First Foundation. It's an organisation that brings children from all over the world here to Australia to receive life-changing surgery. Now the mother of 4 adopted children, we hear how her work has brought the extended joy of motherhood. We leave you with Steve McPherson singing My Hope is in Jesus. See you next week. Goodbye and God bless you.
Some hope in chariots, some hope in wealth. My hope is Jesus and nothing else. Oh, such love and grace leads me to seek my Savior's face. Some hope in armies and the strength of man. My hope is Jesus, who calls me friend. He bears me up if I should fall. My everything, my all in all. What love is this that knows no bounds to faithfulness? What help would he not give the Son of God, through whom I live? Some hope in fortune, some hope in fame. My hope is Jesus, salvation's name. For there he hung